Hello. I'm in the garage again. Gonna continue on some more work here on that 363 small block Ford. Well, I was originally going to bolt those heads on here tonight, but change of plans. I'm gonna wait until I get the timing cover from Luckyman Fabworks there, and then I'm gonna get the cover put on, so I can get the balancer put on, so I can double check true top dead center with the cylinder heads off, so I can get a better, more accurate reading with my dial indicator on there. And then I can mark the timing pointer and the balancer, make sure that they are aligned where they're supposed to be, so I get true top dead center, so that later on down the road when we're tuning this thing, we know for a fact that the pointer is accurate for true top dead center. So I need to get that cover. I'll get that tomorrow from him. So for now, what I'm actually going to do is I'll flip this thing over and I'm going to work on the oil pump side of things and make sure we got clearance between the pump and the counterweights of the crankshaft, etc. Well, just flipped it over. See, it's been sitting upright for a while. Look at that. Oil glistening off the counterweights. All drippy like. Okay, so the pump we are going with here is the Melling 68 HV. Don't forget to replace the screen when installing your new Melling oil pump. Okay, you got it, dude. Let's see what we're working with here. Yep, that's exactly what we're gonna do, actually. But thank you for the reminder. I'll get it out. All right. There we go. There we have it. And what I'm actually going to do with this pump prior to installing, just double check. Yeah, we got the right pump in there. Well, that's ironic. A little rusty on the oil pump. It's on the surface there. Okay. I am actually going to take this top cover off here and I'm just going to inspect it. Make sure there's no rust or anything going on inside there. And then I'm also going to just check the clearance between the rotors, between the rotors and the cap to see how much clearance I have there. You don't want too much clearance and you also don't want it just shearing on the cap. So I'm just going to double check that clearance as well. Awesome. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, it did come with the hardened drive shaft rod there. And we got ourselves a couple gaskets as well. So, I am going to get this started. Alright, at first glance here, I right away see some marks on the cover. But they're just witness marks, so that's fine. Can't feel it at all, actually. It's just an appearance thing, I guess. And the gears look fine. I'll just pop them out here real quick and make sure of it underneath. Make sure there's no debris hiding underneath those blades there. Blades, router. Yeah, I'm good with the words. So I don't see any debris hanging out anywhere, so that's good. I'm gonna just give it a quick brake clean here. And then I'm gonna just lube it up with some fresh oil. And I'm also going to just measure that the clearance between the, here we go again, router. Shoot. But yes, I'm going to measure the distance between there and the cover, just see where we're at. And basically I'll just do it on the edge here as I slip it in. I'm just going to compare it to the outer edge versus here. And just make sure that it's not too tight. Okay, just like that. Oil pump is clean and oiled up. Bolts are tight. My clearance is about between 4 and 5 thousandths of an inch. I kind of mixed it up on how I did this. I got a little creative actually, just because I wanted to see where I was at a little bit closer. So I put a crescent wrench down, put my dial indicator base on here, my dial indicator pointer on here, needle on here, and then I just gripped this very gently with a pair of pliers, and then I just moved it up and down, and yeah, between 4 and 5 thousandths of an inch clearance. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, using a crescent wrench as their dial indicator base, but it's been done now. So I will get this thing on the block. I'll get the gasket, I'll find the bolts that I need for this here, and put the gasket down, get the pump on it, and tighten it up. And then we're just going to go ahead and see what kind of clearance we have between the pump and the counterweights. Okay, so I got the oil pump just rough mounted right now. I got the gasket in there. Checking the clearance between the counterweight and the pump. It looks like we're okay. We got a decent amount of clearance. And I don't know if I can get a light on that. There we go. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, looking good. Problem that I am seeing right now. Okay. This oil pump pickup tube. Let's take a look. See here. I definitely don't have a stud here to bolt her down onto. Well then, what are we gonna do here? Okay. Well, I tell you, that's just one of those things that you don't think about as you're putting an SHP block together for the first time with a rear sump pan setup here. So what I am finding, yeah, what I'm finding is basically I gotta just buy a stud. There's a Canton stud. I believe the part number I found was 20-953, which is a 1/2 inch stud for the Dart SHP block. So that is going to be what we're going to have to get ordered here. So basically it's a bolt with the studs hanging off the top, so we can go ahead and mount the oil pump pickup tube off of it. So that's unfortunate. Yet another thing to wait on, right? But I am not going to take this bolt out and just simply put the pickup tube underneath the bolt. That material is going to be way softer right here, and I am not messing around with that. I don't want that to come loose or whatever and risk spinning a bearing or something silly because of it. So yeah, it's an expensive bolt, man. It's like $40 American, plus you got to get that crazy thing up here in Canada, and exchange rate and taxes. Like for one bolt, it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? We got these aftermarket pieces. We got to bolt it together, piece it together until we get it right. So yeah, so I'll get a bolt coming. I guess I'm kind of stuck at that for now. I'll take the oil pump back off. I'll get the oil pump rod, drive shaft, whatever you want to call it. I'll get it installed and I'll torque the oil pump down. So at least that part's ready to go. And then it's basically waiting for a timing cover tomorrow. And I can do the heads, and I can double check push rod length. So I can order push rods for it as well if the ones we have are not the correct length, which I kind of doubt they will be, but we'll see. Yeah, see you then. All right, so it is a new day. As you can tell, it's now bright outside, and man, it's gonna be a good day. Got the smoker going, got a pork shoulder on there. So yeah, we're gonna have some good supper today. I can continue on that block now. So I got, well, Ricky's got that bolt ordered that we need, that bolt with the stud on top. So we got that coming. But in the meantime, I have done some other things on the engine. So I got one cylinder head put on. I put my valve checker springs, so to speak, on there. Just the soft springs so I can do some checks. So what I did was I found our push rod length, and that ended up being 6.550. And wouldn't you know it, the springs, or sorry, the push rods that we used on his other engine are exactly that. Wow, it's not going to focus, but they're a Trend push rod. It's a 5/16 push rod, 80 wall thickness. So they work out actually perfect. So he can save some money there by just reusing those push rods. I'll just clean them up and they're good to go. I also checked piston to valve clearance, where we are also good. We're looking at 160 thousandths of an inch on the intake and 240 on the exhaust. Those are the tightest points I can find. So we got lots of piston to valve clearance. I also found that to get my 50 thou preload, I'm going to need to go 3/4 turn on the rocker nut. Yeah, so that's actually where I'm at right now. I have the gasket in here. I did have to do a little math because I don't have it torqued down. So it's going to be a 20 thou difference between where it head's sitting now and where the final torque is going to be. So it's supposed to be 40 thou when it's torqued down. Now it's sitting at 60 thou. So with that, with the push rod length that I got here, I mean, it's going to be within 20 thousandths of an inch. I think we are dialed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the cylinder head off. I'm going to put the other valve springs back on. And then I'm actually going to install the timing cover. I got that from Leckerman Fab Works. He did a powder coat job on that. I'll show you that in a bit. It looks awesome. So I'll get that on. I'll get the balancer on. And then I can find true top dead center with the timing pointer on it. And that way we know when we're tuning this thing, we know exactly where we're at. All right, also, I guess before I continue on here, I do want to check the interference fit between the snout of the crankshaft and the balancer or the dampener. So to do that, just use my outside micrometer to get a measurement of the crankshaft, and use my dial bore gauge here to zero out inside the gauge or inside the outside micrometer, and then put the dial bore gauge into the bore and see what your interference fit is. And we are right at 1.5 thousandths of an inch, and according to this balancer instructions, that's on the loose side, but we're good to go there. I don't know if my light in here can do this justice, but that turned out so good. Nice work, Mr. L Fab Works. Very nice. Okay, so I got the timing cover on as well as the balancer. That's looking real nice. I thought I had that timing pointer, but turns out I don't have it here. So I'm going to probably just continue on, actually. I think I'll just get the lifters put in so I can torque these heads down, because once the heads are on, there isn't enough room to get the lifters in. The lifters that we are going to be using, they are a link bar style lifter here. And that's the part number, 91260 from Howard's. So I have these clean already. I just have to oil them up, get them installed, and then I can get the heads put on and torqued down as well. And then to find top dead center later on, I will just have to use my piston stop tool that goes in through the spark plug hole, and it just kind of sticks in. And as the piston rotates up and touches it, you know, I can rotate it over to get to the other side and touch it on the other side, so that way I can find true top dead center and line up the timing pointer. So not exactly the way I like doing it, but it is still very possible. So we'll continue on. Okay, so as you can see in that very long time lapse you all just sat through, if you're still with me, we got a good chunk of this engine together here. I'm actually at the point now where I'm waiting on parts. I need that stud or that bolt for the main cap with the stud sticking off of it for the oil pump pickup tube, and I need the intake manifold and the valve covers. What else do I need? I also need the timing pointer. That's right. So, and some hardware, I guess. But let me show you where we're at. Like you don't already know. But yeah, she's as good as assembled. It's looking very good. I'm excited to see how this thing's gonna perform. It's yeah, it's looking awesome. I don't know if I need to talk about much. What did we all do on the time lapse, guys? It's been over such a bit of time here. I don't even remember what we all did. But washed the lifters, installed the lifters. We got the deck surfaces cleaned up. We got the gaskets put on. Got the cylinder heads cleaned up first of all. Make sure they're degreased. Put them on. Then I installed my rocker studs, or sorry, my head studs, and made sure they were all clean, installed them. And when you're putting the nuts on, don't put any kind of lube underneath the nut, or sorry, underneath the washer against the head surface. Put your washers on dry, and then only thing for ARP lube is on top of that washer and on your threads. You don't want any between the washer and the head, all right? So did that, got them torqued down, went 30 pounds, then I went 70 pounds, and then I went 110 pounds. These are 1/2-inch studs, so they are all torqued down. I will actually probably retorque them one more time yet. I've retorqued them twice, and I'm thinking probably in the next couple evenings or so, I'll probably go ahead and retorque them again just to make sure nothing's moved, everything's seated and where it needs to be, you know. And then I went with the rocker studs, and when installing these, what you want to do, the intake runner side, there is a hole, like the threaded hole for the rocker stud goes all the way through. So with this hole, any of the intake runner studs, you want to make sure to put some ARP thread sealant on the threads so that it seals up that path, okay? Then the exhaust side, I just did a dab of engine oil on those and put them all in, just hand tight. After they're all hand tight, I went with just a pair of rocker arms, and I went through and I just centered them. I centered the guide plate to make sure that it wasn't going to be off center off the roller tip or the rock. Wow, I cannot talk. Off the valve tip. So I had the push rods in, basically set your rocker arms in there and just work them back and forth, each one, to get them as centered as you possibly can on the valve stem itself. And once you have that, you tighten them up. And I just did that through all of them. And once I was done, I torqued them down. And if it's a cast iron head, you go 55 pounds. If it's an aluminum head, 45. So I went 45 foot-pounds. Then do the rocker arms. Get all the rocker arms cleaned up, put them on, and basically working in the firing order. You can kind of pick and choose whatever order you want for setting your valve lash, but you want to make sure that your lifter is on the base circle of the camshaft. Okay, if it's up like this, do not adjust that rocker arm. Okay, it's not going to work out for you. You want to be on the base circle. So usually what I do is the exhaust valve, when it starts to open, you can adjust the intake side. Okay, and then when your intake valve is all the way up and it's coming back down, it's almost closed, then you can adjust your exhaust side. So that's how I do it. Works out great for me. And I went with 3/4 inch turn preload. And that got me about 50 thousandths of preload on the lifter itself. And then lock it down. So when I'm going 3/4 turn, I'm actually going to do just over half a turn. and then I'm going to lock down the lock nut, tighten her down, and then together with the wrench and the lock nut, go the rest of the way. So I'm at 3/4. And that gets a really nice, good, tight lock nut. It gets really good, tight. How would one say that? It gets a really good, tight nut. You guys know what I'm talking about. You want to make sure that they don't come loose on you when you're ripping. So you want to make sure that you got a tight nut for sure. Wow, I'm overtired, I guess. But anywho, yeah, I am waiting on some parts now. So it's exciting. This thing's almost done. And yeah, I think, you know what, the next video, I'll just touch up a little bit on the intake, valve covers, oil pan, and the pickup tube. At least the next video on the small block Ford build anyway. So with that, shoot, I guess keep your nuts tight.